Welcome back to the Red Dice Diaries, and this is my 15th RPG a day video. You'll have to forgive me for running a little bit behind, but I'm slowly trying to catch up. Now, the 15th question is the longest campaign played. Now, I can't remember the longest actual out-of-game campaign I've played. However, the longest in-game campaign I played was a campaign run by a friend of mine, John Carvel. And it was a campaign that, it was more a series of campaigns linked together. One of the very first games I played in that he ran was an Anarch Old World of Darkness games, where I played a city gangrel, a sort of bestial vampire character who, during the course of play, consumed the souls of several of the vampires and ended up becoming something of a monster before disappearing from the session when he effectively became unplayable. Now, my friend John went on to run for another group of friends. He ran a Far Future campaign where Gehenna, as prophesied, the end of the world as it was in the old world of darkness, had actually happened. The oldest of the vampires, the antediluvians, had arisen. Those few vampires who had survived had decided to leave this blasted earth that the apocalypse had created behind, and using the technology that the humans had developed, moved into space, where they founded new clans on new worlds and a new galactic order, effectively. Now, when that campaign sort of wrapped up, my friend John got a few of us together, and he decided to sort of restart this Far Future campaign again, even more years into the future. What he did for my character was he actually resurrected my character out of the original Anarch game, running a flashback scene which explained just what had happened to the character when he disappeared. It effectively involved him being kidnapped by a vampiric creature and placed in suspended animation to be used as an assassin whenever the need arose. And he was thawed out in the far future into this new game, which is probably hundreds of millions of years in the future. It wasn't exactly specified, and then the campaign progressed from there, and it was very interesting, and I really enjoyed it. And it was nice to get a chance to evolve the character, since he had been active during that time, but only in brief fits and starts. So he eventually became a very different character to the one that I played originally. It was nice to see that evolution going on. Now, my friend John will be the first to admit that he's only read, I believe, 2 roleplay books all the way through in his life. It would have only been one, but I bought him one last Christmas and basically emotionally blackmailed him into reading it. However, one thing he is very good at, and that is telling a story. His games are always a bit fast and loose when it comes to the rules. However, that's never stopped me enjoying them. And the worlds that he's been able to conjure up, just due to the sheer power of his imagination, after all, not really relying on many rules. The whole campaign that I've just described stemmed from a brief flick through of the Old World of Darkness rules and him playing in a few Mind's Eye Theatre Old World of Darkness vampire games. And that led not only to an excellent vampire game, but to it spawning this whole far future science fiction horror melding of vampire set out amongst the stars, and enabled him to bring in other aspects and other creatures, aliens, weird creatures, etc. in the future. They were all thrown into this huge melting pot, which created a very enjoyable, albeit sometimes slightly chaotic game, and it's one that I still think of fondly to this day. So, there you are. If I had to say my longest campaign played, in terms of IC time, it would definitely be my friend John Carvel's overarching vampire science fiction game, which started off in our world in the present day and eventually led to some of the original characters and others out amongst the stars billions of years in the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. You consider clicking on the red dice up there to subscribe. I hope to see you in the next RPG a day video. Take care.